Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to understand how to set up the document type and the transaction sequence. The objective is to enable you to understand the Onfinity document type, transaction sequence, and its specific terms in the context of business processes. The prerequisites for creating a document type and transaction sequence in Onfinity ERP require a configured tenant in your environment. Organizations are configured in your tenant, and document-based types are configured in your tenant. Let's understand what a document type is. A document type in Onfinity ERP is the record that controls how a business document is identified, processed, numbered, posted, and approved. It ensures that each document follows the correct business logic, accounting treatment, and workflow routing. Examples of document types include AR invoice, AR credit memo, standard order, and M shipment. Now let's understand what a transaction sequence is. A transaction sequence is a configuration that defines how unique document numbers are automatically generated for different types of documents, such as sales orders, invoices, payments, and journals. It ensures that every document created in the system has a unique, orderly, and traceable number based on its document type and organization. Let's move into the system and see how to configure the document type. You can directly search for the document type using the search utility available in the menu. Alternatively, you can click on Company and Global Settings. At the Transactional Document setting, you'll be able to find both document type and document sequence. Let's open the document type window. We'll take an example of an AP credit memo. Let me remove the filters to do the further configuration. Here, the organization represents for which organization it is generated. By default, all 52 document types get generated from the tenant process, and all these document types come under a star organization. If you have multiple organizations, then you can create multiple document types. However, it is recommended not to create multiple document types. Instead, you can create the transaction sequences for each document type for each organization. We'll come to that part later. That is the organization. A star means it is accessible to all organizations. Then you have AP Credit Memo. Here is the name of the document type. There is an optional short description you can enter. The print text you enter here will be printed in the print formats. A short, optional document note, if you want to print it into the print formats, can be used, and you can make changes in the print formats accordingly. However, presently, it is not used. The default represents that this document type is the default document type. The Release Documents checkbox is normally used when you are creating a release order document type. Presently, it is a debit note or AP credit memo, and hence it is marked as false. The posting categories are available in a drop-down. Presently, for the AP invoice, we have selected AP invoice. If you are creating a document type for your new window, you can select either manual or none. The posting document type is used for the postings, and you need to select the posting document type. The search key also works the same way. When you set up your accounting books, the system links the search key accordingly. There is a logic behind this. Based on that logic, the system pushes the search key. If the search key is available, the system validates the search key first during posting. If it is not available, the system validates the posting document type, so it is recommended to select your posting document type. One important thing is the document base type, as various logics are written in the background based on this. It is important to select the relevant base type. Since the document types are already generated by the system for all transaction windows, you do not need to create the base type. However, if you are performing a customization and have created a new transaction window, you need to define the document base type. You can zoom here, create a new record, and define the name. The document base type code should be 3 digits. The accounting class can be left empty by entering just a space or a dot. It is not currently used and may be removed in future releases. You need to select the relevant table if you have created a new transaction window based on a certain table. For existing windows, it is already available, so we are not going to generate anything at the master doc type. If you select shipment or material receipt, some display settings will change. For example, if you choose shipment or sales order, different fields will appear. If you get confused, you can check the existing document types and see which base type is to be used. The combination of return transaction and sales transaction helps define the document category. If sales transaction is false and return transaction is true, it represents a purchase return, like an AP credit memo or vendor return. If sales is true and return is true, it is a sales return, such as a customer RMA or AR credit memo. If sales is true and return is false, it represents a sale, like a sales order or AR invoice. If both are false, it is a purchase transaction. For sales quotations, the return transaction should be false, sales should be true, and sales quotation should be true. The treat as discount option is used only for AP credit memo. It is helpful when you receive a credit from the vendor that impacts the product cost. In that case, create an AP credit memo with treat as discount marked true. You can create one regular AP credit memo and another with treat as discount true. These would be two different document types. Document number controlled means that a transaction sequence is linked in the background. For example, an AP credit memo has a linked transaction sequence. When defining a transaction sequence, you enter the name, an optional short description, check auto numbering, and define the current next number. The increment is usually 1. The start number should match the current next number. You also define the year and month format if needed, as these are mandatory fields. If you want to validate using a date column, you must enter the database name of that date column of the relevant entry. If you want to append the year or month in the document number, enable those options and define the separator. If not required, these can be left blank. If you want the sequence to restart every year or month, enable those options. Prefix and suffix can also be defined if needed. If you have multiple organizations and need separate sequences, check the organization level option as true. Then define the database column name as AD.org.id. Once done, save the header. Then go to the Sequence Number tab. This becomes available only if the organization level is enabled. If not enabled, then one number will apply for all organizations from the header. To define a sequence number for a specific organization, select the organization, enter a hyphen in the year and month column, define the current next number, add a prefix or suffix if needed, and if the year and month need to be part of the number, define separators accordingly. Save the sequences one by one for each organization. Now move back to the document type. If you want to override the number on completion, check that option. This is useful when the document is drafted one day and completed another day. In that case, a different number can be applied on completion. Similarly, if you want to override the date on completion, check that option too. The active checkbox indicates if the record is active and usable in transactions. The request confirmation option is used in the service and maintenance module and refers to OTP-based confirmation. Task confirmation, if true, means OTP confirmation is required for the task. Production order mandatory means that a production order must be selected when entering requests in the service module. Let's save this. One more thing to note, based on the document base type, certain display logic is triggered. For example, if you look at a document type like a delivery order, you will see that the options shown change based on the document base type. In this example, it's a sales transaction. The document base type is set to shipment. The document number is controlled. If ship or receipt confirmation is true, the system asks for confirmation during delivery. You also define the confirmation document type and scrap document type if needed. These fields change based on the base type logic. Remember, document types are generated during the tenant process for all transaction windows. If needed, you can create a new document type by clicking New Record or copying an existing one and making changes. This is how you configure document types in Onfinity ERP. Thank you for attending.